solution to the story issue. Today you will discover the dangers of story TMI. The mistaken Toastmaster suggests about how to handle TMI and the solution to TMI the World Championship speakers use. You will walk out of this room today with a new storytelling tool in your pocket and a new awareness of how to handle story TMI. And now, please join me in welcoming Tim Wilson.
You know what TMI is? What is TMI? Too much information. Right. And when do they say you have TMI? What's the situation? When you're talking and you really don't want to hear about it. Sometimes guys listen to women talking about the birth process and you're a little bit, TMI. Well, stories do the same thing. Do your stories have TMI? It's an easy thing to have happen. You have to tell a story. Because you tell a story, you get in a roll, and they start going, and Toastmasters actually encourage this. Toastmasters talks about being specific, and the problem with being specific is that it leads to story TMI. And story TMI can be disastrous to the audience. And I know this from personal experience. Toastmasters says you want to be specific. You want to be very specific about what you're saying. Don't use words like large. You say that. Don't use large. Say exactly how many. So by connection, don't use specific. Don't use few. Say exactly how many. Don't use many. Say exactly how many. Don't use couple. Say exactly how many. That's the Toastmasters way. You want to say exactly how many. And I did that. For years. And I remember I told a story about me and 10 guys went into a bar. And the first guy had a green shirt. The second guy had a blue shirt. The third guy had a red shirt. The fourth guy had a purple shirt. The fifth guy had a... By the time I finished that story, half the audience was asleep. The other half had left. There's such a thing as too much information. And I started doing this, going through it's got to be specific. And did this until I started reading in the World Champion Speakers and reading about how they'd say it's okay to say a few. It's okay to say couple. It's okay to say some. So I went through some of my speeches, and I took a couple of them, and I went through them a few times, and then after a while I figured out that this could work several times. And I discovered the audience was perfectly fine, as long as it's not specific to your story. So if there's some story detail, I have to know why there's 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. It's okay. You can say few. You can say several. You can say couple. In fact, your stories will be better for it. Now the thing Toastmasters says is that if you do that, the audience won't know what you're talking about. They'll get confused. So people will think different things. When I say several, you think several means one thing. You think several means something else. You think several means something else. You each have a different idea of several. Does that make sense? Isn't that cool? I have just customized my story for you. For you. I customized my story for the entire audience. Each person in the audience has their own idea of what everything is. Each person in the audience envisions everything exactly the way that works best for them. By using words like few, and several, many, audience customizes it for themselves. So it really connects with them, it really is relevant, it really works. Does that make sense? Toastmasters has a lot of great things to say. Wonderful things talking about the importance of words. And you're using words. Words are powerful. The Powerful Presentations is a presentation that Darren LaCroix, World Champion Speaker, gives. It's really effective, really interesting, because it uses those powerful words. When it comes to stories and being specific, specific, you're going to go down and you're going to get story TMI. So the thing you want to remember always is to suggest your stories. Suggest your stories. When you have a story, just a little suggestion is enough. Don't need to go into story TMI. Just suggest the stories. The audience will come along. They'll understand. They won't get confused. Everything will be engaged, and everything will work. So in suggesting your stories, you have better stories, more powerful stories, more interesting stories. Next week, we're going to talk about how sometimes it's better to just stand still. Good.
Thank you, Tim, for the excellent speech. Now our next speaker is going to be John. And the title of his speech is Gold is Money, so please welcome